6 members of Fire Squadron that I was joyfully commanding. It really is a pleasure. And to see this aeroplane here that's been restored, having had 1 engine running, is absolutely a magnificent achievement. If I take you back to 1984, 40 years ago, my Air Commodore called me into his office and said, "Andy, I've got some good news for you. You're going to be commanding Fire Squadron." Wow! I couldn't believe my luck. I really couldn't. Now, I'd done a lot of time on Lightning. I had 2 tours on our sister squadron. But in 1972, go back 12 years, I'd done 2 tours on the Lightnings, 29 and 23. 23 and Lucas I loved because I was chasing Russians around the North Sea. And that's really what an air defender in peacetime got a lot of satisfaction from. But in 1972, the MOD had announced that the Lightning was to be phased out sometime mid to late 70s, and that the Coldshore OCU was to close in 74. So I thought, I'm an air defender. I want to stay single seat. I don't mind going to fly Jaguars or Harriers, but I have no ground attack experience. So I put my hand up and volunteered to go to Saudi. Made a bit of money, but the point is that I did get that ground attack experience. So I was able to say towards the end of the tour, when I was being asked what I wanted to do, you know, I've got the ground attack experience, I'd like to go single seat, Harrier, Jaguar. And they said, "Oh, you've not heard the news. The Lightning is having a stay of execution and it's running on beyond 74. You are a very qualified weapons instructor and we want you to go back to the Lightning Force." I must admit at the time, a lot of my colleagues were heading off towards Phantoms as the Lightning Force was running down, and I did not want to go and fly a Phantom. So I did accept and thought, well, if I want to go back flying, so I came back here, back in 1975, and joined 11th Squadron. LTF tour, I really enjoyed, and at this stage, I thought, I really want to stay with the Lightning. What I don't want to do is to be siphoned off into the Phantom. I want to stay with Lightnings. So little notes, post-it notes were dropped all over the place. Andy Williams for Fire Squadron. Andy Williams for Fire Squadron. So when that call came from my 1 star in 1984, I was obviously absolutely delighted. And we had a wonderful time. We really did have a wonderful time. Tours, detachments to Cyprus, NATO squadron exchanges in Germany, Belgium, Holland. These were all fun times, which a lot of the squadrons don't get now because they tend to be out of area. They're going off, you know, helping NATO support various conflicts around Europe. So to see the Lightning, this particular Lightning, XR724, which didn't escape Bibrook when all the others were disappearing off to other places, that museums and things. I came back here on occasion. My parents lived in the area, and I always called in to pay my respects to the Lightning pilots down at the church ceremony. And of course, this one was bought by Charles Ross, and my dear friend Furs Lloyd was one of his authors of this, to try and do something with it. And sadly, not an awful lot happened in the early days, and I would come up to the airfield here and see this aircraft look very sorry for itself. Tarpaulins over the spine, held down by tyres, and I just felt it's so sad. The airfield itself was slowly being dug up, and I don't know where bits went. The aircraft had all been cut up, but the buildings themselves were deteriorating. Windows in the Juderex mess, in the accommodation blocks were being broken. The officers' mess was being used by druggies, and so that was leveled to the ground. And all you see now, if you go to there, is just a footprint of where it was. And I felt so sad I didn't come back to see 74. So I just, my visit was to the churchyard to pay my respects. One of the things that I'll never forget, and I'm now going to refer to with a paper, was an incident I had here that required a job card to get me. And that was, I was duped into believing when I landed that I hadn't used my brake parachute. So I went to the lighthouse, and it says here all the details of what I was doing. It was on the ground, following an uneventful approach to touchdown, the brake chute failed to deploy during my landing. You know, I just couldn't believe it, because when I was crewing out, ground crew came up the ladder, and I was obviously distracted because some youngster down at the bottom of the ladder said, "Did you check the brake handle, the brake chute handle?" He looked in, "Yes, hasn't been operated." And I just couldn't believe it. I've got something like 1,500 hours flying the jet, and I've never made a mistake like that. I probably wouldn't have gone on to either the end of the runway or to the barrier. So the upshot was that I felt very guilty, and having so much experience, tail between my legs, walked back into the squadron thinking, "Oh, what are they going to think of me now?" And the appropriate incident report I filled out. This is a copy of the one I have in my logbook. And if you'll forgive me, the pilot is certain the landing was normal in every respect, yet when he dismounted, the chute was in place with the doors closed. Exhaustive technical investigations have failed to find anything wrong with the chute deployment and release mechanism, and the only light which can be shed on this incident stems from evidence that a demented liney was seen running away from the aircraft seconds after he taxied, carrying an empty chute can, and yelled, "Fooled you, fooled you, fooled you." Just how bloody long do you think the runway is? And the squadron commander said, in spite of his considerable experience, the pilot was spooked by the line, and I too was in the same position. Welcome to the club, Andy. And on the job card it said, "Liney's rule okay."
Basically, I need a bit. It's a.
I've had some sausages
Ah, right, yeah.
The old office accommodation. We had a dog
$271 to $275. We have a winner! Thank you very much.
Give me the money for them raffle tickets.
Thank you.
Same old, same old.
Who wants it? Okay, what are we for third? It's the Ian Black signed book. Unfortunately, couldn't make it today, Mr. Black. Otherwise engaged. Give me a stir, Andy. Give me a stir. Thank you. 291 to 295. Somebody shout out.
I think we've actually got that, so I'll throw it again.
Thank you very much.
Hey, done.
Whoever wins it this time, it's only cost you £10. Some thick wrist there, haven't you?
Oh, 320.
Joystick. Okie 316 to 320.
Got to learn to read.
Just got to learn to read now. It's got lots of fixtures with it, you know.
This is for the build your own typhoon model.
Really?
Griff, I'll win this.
These are the Josh Keats.
311 to 315.
There you go, you get it.
Got it. Lego unit together.